learned a lot about our guys last game out. That was a big thing for me, how so many young guys were going to handle us losing and losing the way we did, where we just got manhandled in the second half against Seton Hall. And we went out and played that way the first half against South Florida and on the road. And it was neat to see some of those guys, Rakim Felder, Mike Kotsar, KG, guys that never been through it before, to come out and play the way they did in the second half. Obviously, Dwayne making shots helped. PJ continues to develop into just a real good basketball player. Justin Mackey provided leadership and aggressiveness in that second half. I was just real proud of the guys to come out and play the way we did the second half.
Frank, looking at the Clemson, Jerron Blossom game, 6'9" guy that plays forward, can play the two, can shoot the three. How much of a matchup problem is he, and also with Dante Grantham?
Yeah, Blossom game, what makes him a matchup problem, Dave, is that he's a very aggressive player. There's some guys that are multi-talented, that are unaggressive, that are easy to deal with. He's just very aggressive. I mean, he goes after that ball. And when the ball's in his hands, he goes after the rim. And those guys are hard to deal with. He's obviously, they've done an unbelievable job with him as a player. Obviously, he's continued to grow every single year. He's been there. I mean, basically, my career here has been his career there. So I've seen him from day one to right now, and he's good. He's good. He's a handful to deal with, and they put him in different actions in different places on the floor. The one place you can guarantee you're going to find them is attacking the rim, whether it's rebounding or driving the ball, posting up. He's going to attack the rim. So if for some reason one of our guys can't find them in the game, they find the rim, I'll guarantee you they're going to find Blossom game.
Maybe not necessarily in style of play, but how similar are you and Brad in just kind of your approach to running a program and, I guess, building what you're trying to build?
Yeah, I'm a big fan of Brad's. Brad, Jerry Wainwright is somebody that believed in Brad years ago. And Jerry Wainwright and Ron Everhart are best of friends. And I got to know Coach Wainwright from five-star basketball, and then obviously he came down to recruit my players down in South Florida. And, Brad, I got a lot of respect for Brad. Brad does things the right way. His teams don't beat themselves. They play the game the right way. They defend. They fight you tooth and nail. And that's kind of the same things I try to preach and try to do with our guys. And so it's interesting, to have to compete against somebody that you respect how they do their business. I know this, we're going to be a much better basketball team after this game. Their talent level is good. Obviously, they got experience. Grantham's been a 3-year starter. Blossomgame's a 5th-year senior. The young man, the point guard, Avery Holmes, this is his 3rd year in the program, and he's a 5th-year senior, I believe. I'm drawing a blank right now. I'm just telling you, I didn't sleep much last night. But they've got experienced players. Ceedy, that's the Jeets, he's a senior, They've been through it together. They understand what he wants. It's kind of what we have here. You got guys that have been through it. They lived it. They fight for it. They know how to manage their business. They know what Brad wants, and it's easy to see when you watch them play. And then those first-year guys, they got somebody that they see how to work, and they pay attention to it. And, I don't think he gets the credit he deserves. They won 10 league games last year. We won 11. our game up there. I don't care what the lead was early. It came down to the last minute of the game. I think our programs kind of mirror each other. They're both pretty good, and not too many people give either one of us much respect.
Hill? Oh, I'm sorry, Pat.
Obviously, Dwayne went through that tough stretch, but came back in that second half and really shot the ball well. What kind of example does that set for the younger guys? Just kind of not give up and just keep doing your thing.
Yeah, Dwayne's a rock, and at Seton Hall, I kind of, when I walked in the locker room after the game, you're around somebody you know. I could tell that he was just crushed, and I didn't help him any during the game because instead of leaving him alone, I kind of pressured him that we needed him to make some plays for us offensively, and instead, he had put such a responsibility on himself, which was what he always does. With Senderis's absence, that he really felt like he let people down, and so we spoke the next day. I saw what he looked like in the locker room, and I felt bad. I got on that plane to come home, and I was like, Frank, you're a moron, And the next day, I grabbed him, and it was like just a sense of relief that came, off his face. And then this game, I don't think he made a shot in the first half, but his mindset never wavered, never changed. And like all good players, they go through moments like that. As soon as that first ball in the second half went in the net, that rim got real big. And, and him making that shot, I think, made all our guys feel so good for him that it kind of gave all of us a pick-me-up kind of deal, and everyone played better because of it.
Frank, a couple of questions. How is Hassani in that ankle?
He's going to do some stuff today. He didn't practice yesterday. Do some stuff today, and the objective, the plan, is for him to play on Wednesday. But it's the same ankle that kept him out of 15 games last year in junior college. It's a different sprain. It's not the same sprain he had last year. Different part of the foot, or the ankle, I should say. It's not really the foot, and it's unfortunate. That's you go on a road game coming off a loss, and obviously you're down one guy already, and then you're down basically your sixth man. And for guys to step up and do the things we did on the road, that's why I'm telling you, I learned a lot about those guys. They were great.
And with Rakim, I think he hit three-pointers at USF. Just how good is it to see that fearlessness of him to go up and take those shots, especially with Dwayne kind of misfiring early?
Yeah, Rakim, you never know what you're going to get with freshmen. You go out and recruit him. I know he's a bulldog. I know he's going to fight you on defense on that ball. Making threes was the last thing I thought he was going to do to help this team. And I thought getting other guys shots was going to be something that's going to flow easily for him. It's been the complete opposite. He's still trying to figure out how to be able to get guys shots. One thing is when you play up and down, 3-on-2 kind of stuff. You saw that one play. He made it as simple as it was refreshing because we struggle making that simple pass in the open court. He got PJ a layup right when we're in the middle of our run. But when it's been 5-on-5 half court, he's had moments where he's not sure where to go with the ball. That's part of freshman life. And when he got no preseason practice, it makes it even harder. But that's why, a lot of times you recruit these guys and you think and you got no idea till they're actually in the fire with you. And, he jumped up and made some threes and, made free throws. Rakim's a good player. Rakim's going to really, really help this team. And I think that I'm hoping, and watching him yesterday in practice, that responsibility of I have to play and I have to do well to help the team win, I think made him feel real good.
You still have a lot of senior leadership with Outzen on the court, but given that without him on the court, do you get the feeling that a lot of the younger guys have had to grow and learn at a quicker pace with him not in games?
Yeah, I mean, we're a young basketball team, and that's okay. But we've got senior leadership, which helps the youth. We've depended on young guys having to play for us to win games in the early part of the season. What we lose with Sindarius is his voice. You know, he's the guy that was always connected, and he's very comfortable in being outspoken. It's making Dwayne and PJ and Justin have to be more forceful with their voices because they understand what they're doing. So it's making them better. And yes, to answer your question, then those young guys, it's putting a bigger responsibility on their shoulders. They, like at halftime yesterday, you know, we got annihilated on the glass at Seton Hall. And in the first half, we got annihilated on the glass again. So obviously, I didn't come in the locker room at halftime and hold hands and sing Kumbaya. It's good to see Mike Kotsar come out of the gates and go after every ball like his hair was on fire. You know, you learn a lot about guys when you challenge them and when your team needs them to do certain things. And it was good to see. It was good to see. Those young guys are going to be okay. You know, it's season's still so young, so many games to play. You know, heck, we'd be playing. This is football. We'd be talking about 9 wins. Holy cow, we're in New Year's Day bowl game with 9 wins. You know, we still got 3 more months to go. You know, those young guys have been great. This whole thing is making them be more accountable. Here's the great thing about when you go through the season. You can't run away from it. So you find out who wants more responsibility and who does not want it. You find that out. I found out our young guys want it. They embrace it. That doesn't mean they're going to handle it the right way, but they don't run away from it.
Coach, I know you weren't happy, obviously, after that Seton Hall loss because of the rebounding. Coach Staley, I know with the women's team, she was talking about when you lose a game this early in the year, it helps you prioritize some of the smaller things that, you know, might not be as eye-opening. You know, putting rebound to the side, is there any things that maybe, you know, we can't see that when you go back and you watch that film from Seton Hall that you've kind of, you know, opened up to the guys like, hey, you know, if we want to take it to that next level, these are the things that we need to sharpen up on?
Yeah, it's the toughness place. That Seton Hall, like we were trying to set screens, and their guys wouldn't let us screen them. You know, that going back to youth. When I told Michael Carrera to screen, somebody was getting their head knocked off. See, the young guys don't understand that right now. And it's kind of part of our cultural grassroots system. I'm not knocking it, but kids play more games than practice. So when you don't practice, you don't know how to set screens or use screens other than a ball screen, because that's the easiest one. Go set a ball screen. And, you know, you don't have to practice a lot for that one. You know, how to set a pin down, how to use a pin down, how to set a stagger, how to curl it, all the things, fade it, re-angle your screen, all the things that you have to do screening off the ball, it's kind of new for most of the guys on our team. And, you know, posting up, that's a big part of who we are. We have to, if you've listened to anything I've said since I've been here for 5 years, we are going to attack the rim. We're going to cut it, we're going to post it, and we're going to rebound it. That's what we're going to do. Against Seton Hall, all those 3 things are toughness plays, along with screening. We couldn't screen them, we couldn't post them, we couldn't rebound them, and we couldn't cut it. And we became a team dependent on PJ and Dwayne making jump shots. And when you shoot nothing but jump shots, you don't get to the foul line. And when you don't rebound, miss jump shots, you're not getting to the foul line. So that's been what I've been telling our guys. You know, when you play a team that's not going to accept you screening, guess what? You still have to screen them. Like, you know, going back to football. People play whatever they want to play, throw 97 balls here, there. Whoever runs the ball between the tackles will win the football game. I don't care who's the quarterback. I don't care who's the fullback. Whoever runs the ball between the tackles is going to win the game. Plain and simple. Forget everything else. You ask any football coach that, he's going to tell you that's the answer. And it's the same thing in basketball. Whoever wins the fight at the rim is going to win the game. And I've been telling our guys, our resolve for those plays is not what it needs to be. But we've been getting away with it. Well, we finally played a team that said, we're not having it. And guess what happened? We didn't win. And so from that point, absolutely.
Frank, just to clarify, no change in Sindarius' status for Wednesday night, correct?
Next time I want to make a point on that, David, I will announce it.
And can you say whether his issue in May has anything to do with this situation now?
You know, Dave, why don't you run background checks on me and come up with whatever I did when I was 19 and publicize that too?
Coach, you say you were up watching, Clemson. We know about Blossom game, but Shelton Mitchell is coming off a big game. They got DeVoe out there and Grantham as well. I guess, what did you see, at least from that game and just film over the last couple of weeks that you feel like your team's going to have to do in order to be successful against that kind of team?
Yeah. Sheldon, I was a big fan of his in high school. I root for him. We actually recruited him. Unbelievable family. When I heard he transferred, he went to Vanderbilt, I was like, why? Well, we got to play against him. And then I hear he transfers to Clemson. I'm like, why? We got to play against him. 350 schools, go somewhere else. But I get it. He's a great kid, close to home, great school. So he, he fits right in with what Brad wants. And he obviously, just like some of the guys that we had that had injuries in the preseason, it's hard to just walk off an injury and get on the court and be full go, especially when it's your legs. And I'm sitting there watching it. Like I watched their Alabama game last night live, and then I watched film at night. And watching him 3 weeks ago and watching him last night, it's two different players. Two different players, the aggressiveness that he's playing with. You can tell he's an athlete that feels good about himself right now physically. And he gives them an added dimension there, a little bit of size, athleticism, can play off the dribble to the rim, which is something that, DeVoe's more of a shooter, Avery Holmes more of a shooter. So now you put Sheldon in there and he can shoot it and he can play off the dribble to the rim, which creates a complete different dynamic for us defensively. So they're very good. I think Clemson's a very good basketball team. I don't want to speak for Brad, but in my 4 years here, I think it's the best team, or year 5 now, 4 before. It's the best team that I've watched on film getting ready to play Clemson. And they just added a new piece that just, my man just became eligible a couple days ago. As the season goes on, he's going to establish himself also, I think. I mean, I don't know his team inside like that, but he's a very talented young man that's, big old strong dude that can score and rebound.
Frank, Will was talking about Evan Henson with football being able to practice. At least by the calendar, would he be able to go to the Memphis trip, or would you consider that? Just when will he be able to join the team?
He's been in and out as much as he can. There have been days I said, Evan, stop. Don't do this, man. You're going to crush your body. You're out there banging heads, and then you're going to come over here, and we're physical, and we practice hard, too. The time will come. But he's such an eager kid that he just doesn't want to – when he's got 2 hours, he doesn't just want to sit around somewhere. He wants to do something. And he I give him credit. A lot of kids come in and say, yeah, I want to play both sports. And then they actually – they go out for football, and they practice, and they realize, like, oh, my God, this is, like, real hard. That they're like, I don't need to be doing that. He loves playing basketball too, and he really, really enjoys it. And the agreement Will and I have had from day one is that when football's over, then he'll report to us 100% of the time. And until then, anytime there's a little window where he can be at the game or practice, he does. He shows up. I don't. Dave, I'm trying to make it past Clemson. When we get back from Christmas, I'll have an answer for you there.
And also with Lander ahead, I know that you've always been open about giving some of the smaller schools a chance to come and play in the big arena and that kind of thing. The selection committee doesn't, I think, take effect wins from over D2 schools into effect. Is that a concern of yours when you schedule these kind of games?
If we weren't in those exempt tournaments, yes, because then we'd only be judged on 27 games or. But since we're in an exempt tournament, we're getting 3 extra games. So we're getting judged on 30, 31. And, I understand both ends of the equation. People can say, well, that's another game that you can play against somebody to strengthen your number even more. Here's the thing. I get all that. I understand. We play 31 games. You mean to tell me that you can't figure out if our team's good enough on 30 games? You need 31 to figure that one out? You understand what I'm saying? And by the same token, it's an opportunity to rather than write a check to a school from wherever to come play here, give it to one of the schools in our own state and give those kids an opportunity of a lifetime. I don't know. We've become, as a society, too number-driven, rather than just have common sense and do what's right. Who's getting hurt by us playing Lander? Who? I don't understand that. If we played like the schedule I had my first year here, where it's 340 whatever it was in the country, and we played Lander, then I can someone sitting there and say, come on, Frank, really? Really? Who you trying to trick? But that's not what we've tried to do. We've tried to schedule the right people. We've tried to schedule hard, tried to schedule away from home. If you can't figure out who our team is with 30 of those games, you need 31 because 31 is going to really, really create a difference whether we're good enough or not. I don't know. I don't get that one. Oh, thank you. One more. Oh.
Bob Huggins got his 800th career win.
That's what I do every time someone says Bob Huggins.
I think yesterday. So obviously you spent a lot of years with him. Just talk about that feat and how difficult it is to get to that, to get the 800 career wins.
Yeah, Scott, I was sitting in his house in Cincinnati, Ohio, on a night in March, the year 2006. And he said, Frank, let's take the K-State job. And I was like, we had a game the following night against South Carolina. And I said, Hugs, we don't know anything about that part of the country. He's like, I'm telling you it's the right job. I'm like, Hugs, you're my guy. Wherever you go, if you want me, I'm there. You don't have to ask. He's like, no, I'm not going to force you, but I'm just telling you it's the right job. He said, here's the deal, Frank. This is the plan. We're going to go over there. We're going to get it right. In 4 years, I'm going to go fishing. And I'm going to hand you the keys to the car and make sure everyone stays with you. And then it's your baby. And then I'll sit out in the cabin when I'm not fishing and watch you guys play. And then we can meet for dinner afterwards. And I said, I know this. The guy knows what he's doing, and he's real good, so I know we're going to win. That sounds like a plan. I'm okay with that. Well, 8 months later, he left. Took the job at West Virginia, or 10 months later, I should say. Takes the job at West Virginia, and I'm in a car, and I don't know what I'm going to do. I'm actually driving to get on a plane with him and go to Morgantown, West Virginia. And he calls me. He says, go back. They want to meet with you. And in a difficult moment for him, because that decision drug him into the ground like nothing I've ever seen. Not only did he go out of his way to make sure I got the job, but he told everyone to stay because it was my turn. And he told everyone, I'm going to be okay. It's Frank's turn. We got to take care of him. So he made sure that the players stayed. He could have taken Michael Beasley. He could have taken Bill Walker. He could have taken Jacob Pullen. He could have taken all those guys. Instead, he made sure that the staff stayed, which I was extremely comfortable with. He made sure the players stayed, and he went back home. And now here we are. That was 10 years ago. So much for those 4 years and going fishing. No surprise he's at 800. And the way he does it, I won't be surprised if he's around for another 10 years and makes it to 1,000. I really won't. He's just that kind of person. He loves the game, loves people, and he's that good. And I hope he makes it to 1,000 wins. I really could. I know he can do it. It's just a matter of, now he's in his early 60s or whatever it is, and but he's like a brother. He's that like that older brother I never had, and always guides me the right way. I told him the other day, eventually he's got to let all of us that have been around him write a book so we can tell the real story. Because the people on the outside, the story is that he's always taken these renegades to win, and his teams have always had issues. And the real story is his commitment and loyalty to take young people and make them men, not turn his back on them. They make mistakes. He fights. He deals with them. They don't have no walk in the park. Go back and find one former player that has a negative thing to say about him. When you've coached 1,000 and whatever games, and there's not one guy that's going to say something negative about you, says who you really are as a human being. And one day I hope he lets us write that book, where instead of writing about so-and-so got in trouble for this, they can say Bob Huggins took this guy who had no chance to succeed in life, and at the age of 30, he's made this much money and he's kept the job. Because that's what he's about. That's what he's about. So that's why winning games is never a surprise for me when it comes to him. Sorry for the long-winded answer, but that's my dude, and that's the truth. Thank you, guys.